Good evening everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 9th of December. My name is Anuj and I will be taking today's session. In today's session, we will be covering 5 main news and 8 quick updates and 1 place in news. In main news, we will be covering about the International Big Cat Alliance as the India has called on the big cat range nation to join the IBCA. In the second main news, we will be covering about the autonomous bodies under Department of Higher Education as departmentally related Parliamentary Standing Committee has presented a review of these institutions. In third main news, we will be covering about the reservation in the judiciary as the Supreme Court has directed 30% of reservation for women in state bar councils. In fourth news, we will be covering about parliamentary disruptions in India. Then we will be covering about the performance evolution of solar power projects. Then we will be briefly covering 8 quick updates. Then we will be covering 1 place in news, that is Cambodia. So let us begin the news discussion for today. So let us begin with the first main news. So what is first main news? The first main news is that India has called on the big cat range nations to join IBCA. In this news, we will be covering about big cats and we will be also learning about this International Big Cat Alliance. Okay, and it is related to GS paper 3, which is environment. So let us begin with the discussion. So first of all, what is the context? So the context we have briefly discussed, but let us discuss it again. So here, India has invited all big cat range countries that include around 95 to 96 countries to the Global Big Cat Summit, which has to be hosted by India in 2026. So in this news, we have to look about the development which have occurred here, as well as we will be learning about big cat. As you all might be aware that UPSC is focusing a lot on the species which are there in news. So let us move further and learn about this IBCA. Okay, so basically its genesis can be traced back to 2023. And why this year was chosen? Because it was the 50th anniversary of Project Tiger. When was the Project Tiger launched? It was launched in 1973. So mark it 50th anniversary, we launched IBCA. And what is its objective? So basically it is there for conservation of big cat species. And what are big cat species? Basically big cat species includes 7 big cats, which are tigers, lion, snow leopard, cheetah, leopards, pumas and jaguars. So basically in India there are 5 big cats, but there are 2 big cats which are not there in India, that is pumas and jaguar. So one important fact here is that pumas and jaguars are not there in India. And cheetahs were also extinct, but we have introduced cheetahs, reintroduced cheetah in India under Project Cheetah, which is under Project Tiger. Okay, and last year, Project Tiger and Project Elephant was merged together. Okay, secondly, its organizational nature. Basically, IBCA is a multi-country and multi-agency coalition. So basically, it has many countries and we are basically focusing on 95 to 96 big cat range countries, and there are private and other international institutions as well which are part of this organization or alliance. Okay, and its secretariat will be based or is based in New Delhi, and it is on the framework of ISA, International Solar Alliance. And which countries can join Indian Solar Alliance? All the UN countries. And similarly, all the UN countries can also join the IBCA. So this is the information, and presently there are 18 member countries and 3 observer countries. I think when President Putin visited India last week, they have formally agreed to join IBCA, and Russia will become the 19th country to join IBCA. That's why it is very important to follow newspaper. Okay. Lastly, its governance structure. So IBCA assembly is the apex decision making body under IBCA. So this was all about IBCA. Let us look into the 7 big cats. So we have already discussed tiger, lion, jaguar, cheetah, puma, snow leopard and leopard. In this, puma and jaguar are not there in India. Okay, but remaining 5 big cats are there in India. You should know about them in detail, as UPSC is asking a lot of questions from the characteristics of the species. We will be discussing PYQ after this news. Let us first look into the various big cats. First of all, tiger. Its IUCN status is endangered and it is listed under Appendix 1 under CITES, and under Wildlife Protection Act it is there in Schedule 1 and Schedule 4. We have already discussed in the previous classes that all CITES listed species are also part of WPA Schedule 4. So that is a important information. Then coming to lions, they are vulnerable and site listed in Appendix 1, but for Indian lions, they are listed under Site 2 and then they are under Schedule 1. Similarly, jaguar, they are near threatened in IUCN status, and in sites they are listed under Appendix 1. They are not under the WPA as they are not there in India. Similarly, we have for cheetahs, we have for pumas, snow leopards and the leopards. There are some other information as well which is very important, such as the cheetahs does not roar. Very important information. Similarly, lions basically stays in prides. That means they basically lives in groups. But all the other big cats prefer to live in solitude. That is the basic information about big cats and their conservation status. Okay, you can read about their status, remaining status of cheetah, puma, snow leopard and leopard from your screen. Okay, I will move aside and you can learn about their IUCN status, about their sites listing and how they are part of the WPA. Okay, now we will look into their ecological significance. So basically you might have heard the term that आग और पानी का बैलेंस बहुत जरूरी है. That's why they are there as the apex predators. What is the meanings of apex predators? They are there that they maintain the ecological food chain and they eat the herbivores who are dependent on the trees and the vegetation. So they maintain the ecological balance of the biodiversity. Similarly, they are flagship species. That means the government and the other institution try to protect them in their conservation status or in the wildlife. When these institutions will be promoting and protecting these species, the overall biodiversity of that region will get protected. And also, their healthy big cat habitat are vital for the carbon sink and help combat the climate change. This is an inference from the last 2 points. So basically this was all about the first news. Let us discuss the PYQ related to this news. So first PYQ is there from the prelims 2024. And the question is, consider the following statement. First, lions do not have a particular breeding season. Two, unlike most other big cats, cheetah do not roar. We have discussed this. This is an correct statement. Unlike male lions, male leopards do not proclaim their territory by scent marking. This is a wrong statement. And the first statement is also correct. Basically, lions do not have a particular breeding season. So the answer for this question is A, 1 and 2. Then we have PYQ from the 2019 prelims paper, and the question is, consider the following statement. One, Asiatic lion is naturally found in India only. So basically it is tendency of student, whenever they see the word only, they try to think, or they tend to think that that is a wrong statement. But here it is a correct statement. The second option is double humped camel is naturally found in India only. This is a wrong statement. They are not found in India. Then the third statement, one horned rhinoceros is naturally found in India only. Okay, they are also found in Nepal and other countries. So it is also a wrong statement. Then the answer will be A, 1 only. So this was all about the first news. Let us move to the second news for today. So basically the second news is related to autonomous bodies under the Department of Higher Education. As the departmentally related Parliamentary Standing Committee has presented a report in which it's review these bodies. So we will be learning about the autonomous bodies and issues and recommendation which are given in this report. It is related to GS paper 2, which mentions issues related to development and management of social service and sectors relating to health, education and human resources. So let us begin the discussion of this news. We have already discussed the context. So the committee which has presented the report, it is on education, women, children, youth and sports. So here, let us first understand about the autonomous bodies and specifically autonomous bodies under the Department of Higher Education. So let us first understand what are the autonomous bodies. So basically, these are the bodies which are set up by the government, but they function automatically, or they have relatively higher flexibility. And their basic aim is to have a specificity in particular domain, but the oversight will be of the government. That is the basic definition of autonomous bodies. They can be funded or partially funded by the government. Don't think that they won't be funded by the government. And when coming to their formation, they are set up either through a specific act of parliament or as societies under the Societies Registration Act of 1860. So let us first understand about the education as a subject under 7th schedule. So basically it was an state subject, but after the 42nd constitutional amendment, it was brought in the concurrent list. So now presently the education is under concurrent list. So this was the context of this news. Let us move to the recommendation and issues highlighted by this report. Let us first understand about the key issues with the autonomous bodies under Department of Education. So first, NTA. What does NTA do? National Testing Agency. It conducts examination like IIT, NEET and other examination, and it was formed in 2018. If you might have written the exam of IIT or NEET after 2018, that examination would have been conducted by National Testing Agency, that is NTA. And what are the issues which are being highlighted by the report? It has highlighted the issues such as leakage, postponement of the examinations, declaration of result has been delayed, and the vendor management is not up to the mark. Okay, so this was the information given regarding the NTA. Now coming to the NAAC. What does it stand for? It stands for National Accreditation and Assessment Council, basically, and it was established in 1994 as a part of UGC. Okay, it is related to UGC, and its role is that it assess and aggregate the higher educational institute. So you might have studied in various higher educational institutes, so there will be a marking of NAAC to them. But what the report had highlighted? That report has highlighted that the process of aggregation is long and bureaucratic, and there are high chances of corruption in it. Then they have talked about UGC. UGC was established in 1956, and basically it look after the maintenance of the teaching, research, as well as the examination in the university level examinations. And what the report has highlighted, that report had highlighted that there are vacant position of chairperson in universities. There is delay in the draft of UGC regulation and finalization. Also, they have highlighted that the research level is not that high, which is required for a country like India. Then they have talked about the Indian Council of Historical Research. It was established in 1972, and it is there to perform the function which is related to history research. And in this, they have highlighted that there is inadequacy of current budget for this institution. Lastly, they have highlighted about Indian Council of Social Sciences, which was established in 1969, and they have found out that there is no implementation of recommendation of 7th Pay Commission. So basically, we are talking about 8th Pay Commission, but in this institute, even the 7th Pay Commission is not implemented. That's why the salaries will be lower, and there will be description in the staffs, and there will be lower staffs. That means that has leading to staff shortage. So these were the issues with the autonomous bodies which have been highlighted by the report. Now let us look into the recommendations. So recommendations are very simple. Even after looking at the issues, you can point out at the recommendations. Recommendations are very simple and straightforward. What are the recommendations? They have recommended, particular to each body for NTA, they have recommended that there should be transparency in paper setting and administration and correction, and they should promote pen and paper mode. Okay, so that the chances of cheating or lack of transparency can be reduced. Then they have given recommendation for NAAC. They have said that the aggregation process should be streamlined, and the chances and the loophole for the corruption should be reduced and removed. Then they have said about the UGC that the new chairperson should be appointed as soon as possible, and the finalization of draft regulation should be as early as possible. Okay, then they have talked about ICHR, which has said that government should increase the budget for the council, as well as there should be improvement in the infrastructure for ICHR. Lastly, about ICSSR, for them they have said there should be pay parity. That means the 8th Pay Commission should be implemented along with the other bodies, and there should be also staff appointment so that the staff shortage problem can be sorted out. So these were the recommendations which was given by the report. Now let us look into one PYQ which is not directly related to this news, but it is an important PYQ. It is related to education, and it was there in prelims examination of 2012. And the question is, which of the following provision of the constitution does India have a bearing on education? Question is very straightforward and a thought provoking question. The first option is DPSPs. Second, rural and urban local bodies. Then fifth schedule, sixth schedule and the seventh schedule. We have already talked about the seventh schedule, that it has a bearing on education. Then in DPSPs, there is Article 45, which talks about early childhood education. Then in our rural and urban bodies, there are provision for education. And in fifth and sixth schedule, which are related to tribal areas, there is provision for educational upliftment of the tribals. So all the statements or the options given are correct, then the answer will be D, 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. This is the right answer for this question. Now let us look into one PYQ which is related to mains examination. So the question is, how have digital initiative in India contributed to the functioning of education system in the country? Elaborate on your answer. So basically you have to talk about the digital initiative which are there, which have contributed the functioning of the education system in the country. And you have to support your answer with the examples. Okay, so this was all about the second news for today. Let us move to the third news. So third news is a very important development for women empowerment. And the context here is that the Supreme Court has directed 30% reservation for women in state bar councils. So in this news, we will be learning about women in judiciary as well as the bar council, and it is related to GS paper 2, which talks about structure, organization and functioning of executive and the judiciary. So let us begin the discussion of this news. We have already discussed the context briefly. Let us discuss it in more detail. So basically, Supreme Court has directed that 30% of the seats where the elections are not notified for the State Bar Council must be represented by women advocates. So basically it means that in the State Bar Council where the elections are not notified, there has to be 30% reservation for women. In this, 20% will be through the elections and 10% by the co-options. So basically, the co-option means that the elected members will select the members from the outside. That is the basic meaning of co-option. So now let us understand about State Bar Council and the Bar Council of India. So basically, Advocate Act of 1961 provide the establishment of Bar Council of India as well as the State Bar Councils, which is there for the each states. And these are established by the Advocate Acts of 1961. This is an important information. Secondly, the State Bar Council admit person as advocates on its role and safeguard their rights, privilege and interest. So basically they admit persons as advocates. And what does the Bar Council of India do? It lays down standard of professional conduct and exercise supervision and control over state bar councils. And it also lays down the procedure for examination as well as it look after the law colleges in India. That is BCI, Bar Council of India. One question in prelims examination was directly there from this information. What UPSC do sometimes is they try to bring out questions for polity out of the Lakshmikant. Okay, as they are aware that everyone is reading Lakshmikant. So it is very important whenever there is a current affairs related news to polity, you have to understand that in a full spectrum. Okay, now let us move to the next part of this question. Sorry, this news. Next part is about the status of women in judiciary. So here we will look after the status of women in judiciary. And what will be the implication of women in judiciary? Basically, it is for women empowerment. What does it mean? Basically, when we have to empower women, we have to give them decision making powers by political means, by financial means, by the educational means. Then only women will be getting empowered. So that is the reason that the judiciary or the Supreme Court has directed for the women representation in the state bar councils. And we will look into the status which is present in the judiciary related to women. Okay, first of all, no woman member is there in the 20 members Bar Council of India. No women members. And in the state bar councils as well, only there are 9 women out of 441. 9 out of 441 in the state bar councils. Then coming to the higher judiciary. Since independence, for the Supreme Court, only 11 Supreme Court judges were women. And till now, there was no woman who acted or who was the Chief Justice of India. So, this is the meaning of this sentence. Since independence, Supreme Court has only 11 women judges. And when coming to High Courts, only 13.4% of judges were women. And when look after the Parliament as well, the status is not different. There are only around 14% of women in Lok Sabha presently, and around 17% of women in Rajya Sabha. What does it show? It shows that we are not giving political powers to the women. Okay. Lastly, the state of judiciary report has showed that in the lower judiciary, the women's representation is little bit better. And it showed that the 36.3% of women are there in the district's judiciary. This is the status of women in judiciary. Okay, I think it have made it clear about the status of women in the judiciary. Now coming to the barrier related to women representation in judiciary. First of all, entry level barriers. Okay, because the judicial services rule in the states require continuous legal practice. And basically, women take breaks due to various reasons such as pregnancy. So it creates a hindrance at the entry level only. Then coming to the retention challenges. As there are rigid transfer policies and one person can be transferred from one corner of India to the another corner of India, that create a hindrance for the women. Thirdly, there are infrastructure gaps. I think the last CGI have highlighted how the Supreme Court premises also does not have proper bathroom facilities for the women. That shows the infrastructure gap for the women in the judiciary. Lastly, cultural norm, which means the patriarchal norms in the Indian society. So these are the barriers for women representation in judiciary. Okay, now let us move further and discuss the PYQ related to this news. And the question is from Prelims 2022. And the question is, with reference to India, consider the following statement. Statement 1, government law officers and legal firms are recognized as advocates, but corporate lawyers and patent attorney are excluded from recognition as advocates. That is the first statement. Second, Bar Council have the power to lay down the rules relating to the legal education and recognition of law colleges. We have discussed this in the news. So this is an correct statement. Whereas the first statement is not correct because the corporate lawyers and the patent attorneys are also considered lawyer under the Advocate Act of 1961. Then the answer will be B, 2 only. So this was all about the third news for today. Let us move to the next news. So basically, next news is about parliamentary disruption in India. In this news, we will be looking into the factors which are leading to the parliamentary disruption and their implication. It is related to GS paper 2, where the syllabus talks about parliament and state legislature, structure, functioning and conduct of businesses. It is a very important part for your polity and governance paper. So let us first discuss the context for this news. The context is that the winter session is going on, and this is the fourth shortest winter session from 2014, and it has opened with immediate disruption due to SIR, which has reflected a long-term and cross-party pattern of institutional parliamentary obstruction. So basically, for conduction of session in India, the Article 85 of Indian Constitution lays down procedure. That means that the session should be conducted twice a year. That means there should be a gap of there can be a gap of 6 months. But in India, there are 3 sessions which are winter, monsoon, and budget. And there is continuous disruption in the parliamentary sessions. Now let us discuss about the analysis of parliamentary obstruction, which is related to the 17th Lok Sabha. That means the Lok Sabha for the previous government. Now the 18th Lok Sabha is running. Okay. First of all, there was reduced sitting days. Parliament met only for 274 sitting, which was lowest from 2014. Okay. Then minimal committee scrutiny. That means that bills which was presented, they were not sent to the parliamentary committees for their enrichment and scrutinization. What is parliament there for? Basically, it is there for to hold the government accountable. And if it not function well, then there will be higher chances that the government will not be accountable to the parliament. And why these disruptions are occurring? There are many reasons for it. First of all, to get highlight in the news, as the parliamentary proceeding are given live on the news channels and the YouTube. Secondly, due to the 10th schedule, that is anti-defection law, as the parliamentary or the Lok Sabha member has to follow the orders of whip. These are the some reasons for parliamentary disruption and the obstructions. Now coming to the quality of debate. So basically 31% of the Lok Sabha time and the 32% of the Rajya Sabha time was devoted to the non-legislative discussion. And there was a report that the each minute of parliament costed around 2.5 lakhs rupees to the Indian taxpayers. That means the each minute which is foregoing under the disruption, that is costing around 2.5 lakhs rupees to the Indian taxpayers. That is the economical downfall. There are other downfall as well. Okay, the people perception of the parliament will get reduced, that they are not debating on the important topics. These are some of the implications of the disruption in the parliament. Lastly, there is declining budget examination. It means that nearly 80% of the union budget was cleared without debate between 2019 and 2023. It is leading to the passage of the budget without discussion. So the whole accountability principle is getting reduced due to these disruptions. Okay, you can support or you can take down these data whenever there is a question regarding accountability or the disruption in the parliament. You can quote these type of data in your answer. Now coming to the way forward. First of all, there should be the all party code for conduct. That means there should be mutual agreement between all the parties so that the disruption can be reduced. And there is a provision of opposition day. Opposition days in the Parliament of UK. That means some days are given for the opposition to discuss over a topic. So that can be brought into India. Opposition days from UK. Secondly, we can fix the parliamentary calendar. That means that there should be a specified timeline so that the parliament sit for that number of days. Okay. Thirdly, there should be enhanced accountability measures through various mechanisms, one of which is technology. So we can trace the parliament's bill and how the working is going on those bills and how much time has been taken for debate on those bills. Lastly, there are requirement to strengthen the parliamentary procedure by various methods such as technology for transparent tracking of the attendance of the members, the debates and the bills. Okay, so this was the key forward or the way forward for the parliamentary disruptions. Now let us look into one PYQ related to this news. So PYQ is there from the 2021. And the question is, to what extent, in your view, the parliament is able to ensure accountability of executive in India? So what it is talking about? It is talking about the disruption and what are the accountability measures there with the parliament. Here you will talk about ethics committee. You will talk about 0 hours. You will talk about questions hour. And how, to what extent, in your view, the parliament is able to ensure the accountability of executive in India. So this was the demand of this question. And with this, we have discussed this news. Let us move to the next news for today. So next news is related to the solar project, and the development is that the Parliamentary Standing Committee on Energy has presented a report on performance evaluation of solar power projects in India. So basically we will be discussing what are the challenges which are being presented by this report and what are the recommendations which are given in this report. It is related to GS paper 3, which talks about sustainable development. So let us discuss this news. So here the committee has evaluated solar potential of India, performance of solar power plants and associated issues which are hindering the progress of the solar power project in India. So let us first understand key facts and the background. When was the National Solar Mission started? It was started in 2010, and the various targets have been updated along with the time. It is one of the key aspects of National Action Plan for Climate Change of India, which was established or started in 2008. Whenever you are reading a news, please be clear with the basics of that news. India as a country has the third largest renewable energy installation, and in the solar installation as well, we are the third largest after China and USA. And we are performing good on the solar front, but there are issues and challenges which are highlighted in this report. We will be learning about the status of solar power in India in the last slide. Let us first understand about the key issues and the recommendations which are given in this report. So first of all, about the issues highlighted by this report. What is the first issue which has been highlighted by this report? That is delays in land acquisition, which is affecting the timely development of utility scale solar project. So basically there are issues in the land acquisition related to the solar power projects. And what is the recommendation? The recommendation is regarding the single window clearance mechanism. So bringing all the stakeholders together, and there should be a single window clearance portal so that the process should be or can be streamlined. Second, they have highlighted that lengthy process for forest and the wildlife related clearance. So basically, the forest institutes and the wildlife related bodies are not giving the clearance at the time or at the faster time. So they have said there should be a development of dedicated portal exclusively for all transmission related bodies which are going from the forest and the wildlife areas. So there should be a dedicated portal. Third issue, there is delay in laying of transmission line due to issues related to right of way compensation. What is this meaning of right of way compensation? If you are from rural background, you might have noticed that there is passage of HDVC, high voltaic direct current voltage lines. Then the compensation is given to the farmer if the line is also passing through land. And if these pillars are established on their land, then also the compensation is given. That is the meaning of right of way compensation. And what does this report said? The report has said that there should be encouragement to the state to adopt the center's guidelines on right to way compensation at the market rate. This is saying that there should be more compensation that should be given in the right of way compensation mechanism so that the transmission line can be laid down in a faster manner. Fourthly, they have said about the inadequate storage facility. So that is a basic problem with the renewable energy as well as the solar energy. In India, we have established around 50% installation of total energy. But the production from the renewable energy is only 26%. And what is the reason behind it? The reason behind is that the intermediacy and the lack of continuous power generation from the renewable source of energy. So that we cannot totally depend on the renewable energy. But it is an important fact when we compare the installation capacity, we have achieved the 50%, but when it comes to production and utilization, it is only 25 to 26%. Okay. So the report has highlighted that the premier research institution should be encouraged to undertake the storage related R&D, as the storage of the larger energy of the renewable energy is issue. So the premier research institutions should be encouraged to undertake the storage related R&D. Okay. They have also talked about lack of domestic manufacturing capability, which are related to solar panels and other related objects or the products to the renewable energy. So they have said there should be an adequate capital for high voltage direct current related R&D. So what is this high voltage direct current? So it is related to the transmission where there is difference of high voltage and the current is passed as the direct current. You might be aware that current can be transmitted through direct current or the alternative current. There is very low energy loss here in this transmission. Lastly, they have talked about regional imbalances in the solar power development. That means all the areas which have higher potential are not producing solar energy as to their capacity. Now let us discuss about the status of solar energy in India. So India has 116 gigawatt of solar power. We have already discussed this is the third largest in the world. And the targeted 292 gigawatt of power capacity by 2030, and the total renewable power target is 500 gigawatts. Okay, and what is the solar potential for India? It is 748 gigawatt peaks, and there are various initiatives like PM Surya Gar. There was a prelims question on this last year or last to last year. We will be discussing that when we will be discussing the PYQ. And there is PM Kusum and development of solar parks as well. These are the initiatives which are taken by the government to promote the solar energy in India. Now let us discuss the PYQ related to this news. So the question is from 2025 itself. And look at the question. Because in the last budget, the government has focused a lot on this scheme. That's why this question was there in the last year prelims examination. And the question is, consider the following statement about PM Surya Ghar Muft Bijli Yojana. Statement 1, its target installation of 1 crore solar rooftop panel in the residential sector. The Ministry of New and Renewable Energy aims to impart training on installation, operation, maintenance and repair of solar rooftop system at the grassroots level. It aims to create more than 3 lakh skilled manpower through fresh skilling and upskilling under scheme component of capacity building. So the very detailed analysis of the scheme was given and all the statements are correct. Then the answer will be D, 1, 2 and 3. So this was all about the main news for today. Let us discuss the place in news for today. So the place in news for today is Cambodia, and the context is that the Thailand has recently launched airstrike into Cambodia. Before discussion, let us look into the map of Cambodia. It is here. It is surrounded by Vietnam, Laos, Thailand. Okay, and there is Gulf of Thailand here. And here it is Gulf of Tonkin. Whenever you are reading a place in news or something which is related to map, please look in and around that country as well. Here you can look about Gulf of Thailand, Gulf of Tonkin. What are the countries which are surrounding Cambodia? Okay, now let us understand its feature. So it is part of ASEAN, which is Association for Southeast Asian Nation. It was there in the news last month as well. And there was one important development which can be asked in your prelims examination. And what was that development? It was that the Timor-Leste was included in ASEAN as the 11th member. Then its neighboring countries we have already discussed. It is Vietnam, Laos and Thailand. And it border water bodies such as Gulf of Thailand. Gulf of Thailand is here. Gulf of Tonkin is here. Then it has natural resources such as oil and gas, timber, gemstone, iron ore management, manganese and phosphorus. And it has largest lake, that is Tonsley's Sap Lake, which is the Southeast Asia's largest freshwater lake. And India and Cambodia is culturally related as well. You might have studied about the Angkor Wat temples. So they are there in Cambodia. So this was all about the place in news for today. Now we will discuss the quick update for today. So the first quick update is about the Indian Statistical Institution, and the context here is that the draft Indian Statistical Institution Bill 2025 has met with strong opposition by academician as well as the student. So this is the context. In this news we will be learning about the Indian Statistical Institution. So basically it was founded in 1931. There is a brief history of before it was established, because there was a statistical department in Presidency College which was established by the P.C. Mahalanobis. And later on in 1931, this Indian Statistical Institution was established. And it's coming to its registration. It is registered as society under the Society Registration Act of 1860. We have also studied about this act when we were learning about the autonomous bodies in the second news. Later on, it was re-registered under the West Bengal Societies Registration Act of 1961. Okay, and it has received the status of the institution of national importance by the Parliament of India, and it is headquartered in Kolkata. So basically these facts are important for the Indian Statistical Institution. And what are its objective? Its objective, as it might be clear from its name as well, are related to the advancement of the statistical science and its interdisciplinary applications, as well as the promotion of research in mathematical, computer science, as well as economics and social sciences. It has major achievements as well, such as it has formed an important role in formation of NSSO. Okay, so this was about the first quick update. Now let us move to the second quick update. Second quick update is about tsunamis. And what is the context? The context is that the powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake has struck off the northern Japan, which has triggered the fear of tsunamis in Japan. In this news, we will be learning about tsunamis. So what is the basic meaning of tsunamis? So basically, you might have heard about the tsunamis of India, and these are catastrophic ocean waves, usually caused by the submarine earthquake, coastal landslide, or volcanic eruption below the oceans. So whenever there is a large movement below the earth's surface and below the oceans, there are chances of tsunamis. And they are basically there in the Pacific region, which is also called as the Ring of Fire, and its occurrence there is about 90%, as the 90% of the world earthquake and tsunamis occurs there. Earthquake and tsunamis are related. Okay. So Pacific subduction zone produced 90% of the world earthquakes. Okay, so this was about the tsunamis. Now moving to the next news. Next news is related to the corporate average fuel efficiency, CAFE norms. And what is the context? The context is that the India's proposed CAFE 3 norms have faced criticism from the global agencies. And what is the criticism? That these norms are very strict and the manufacturers or the corporate bodies will be having tough time to obligation under these norms. Now let us understand about these norms. These was first notified in 2017 and these were notified under the Energy Conservation Act of 2001. This is an important point that these are notified under Energy Conservation Act of 2001, and their first phase was from 2017 to 18 and second phase was there from 2022 to 23. Now we are talking about the third phase. And what is their objective? Basically, they are there to increase the fuel efficiency for the vehicles. So they say that the fuel efficiency of the vehicles which are produced by the automobiles companies should be higher, and if the fuel efficiency will be higher, what it will lead to? Basically, it will mitigate the fuel consumption by lowering CO2 emission, aiming to reduce the oil dependency as well as the air pollution. So it is significance for the consumers as well as for the environment. Okay, and its application is there on the petrol as well as diesel, as well as the LPG vehicles, as well as the CNG, hybrid and the electrical passenger vehicles. Okay, so this was about the CAF 3 norms and about the CAF norms. Now let us move to the next quick update. So next quick update is about cosmic filament. And what is the context? The context is that the University of Oxford research have reported a roughly 15 million light year long cosmic filament traced at least 14 galaxies. So let us first understand light year. So it is not a measurement of time. It is measurement of distance. So in 1 year, how much distance a light travel, that is the meaning of light year. Now let us understand about cosmic filament. Cosmic or the galaxy's filament are the largest thread in the universe cosmic map. And what is their exact meaning? Their exact meaning is that the cosmic filament is a structure spanning hundreds of millions of light years. We are not talking about a single light years, hundreds of millions of light years, formed as a result of gravity pulling in gas in the dark matter and the galaxies into a long thin strand that linked the giant clusters of galaxies. Basically, these filament acts like highway from where gases and the other particles can move and get attracted to the larger galaxies. That is the basic meaning. And how they are important for the cosmology. They help study the galaxy formation and distribution. Basically, they also help in understanding that where a galaxy has evolved and when the galaxy has evolved. Secondly, it acts as a highway. We have talked about this. They act as a highway which feeds matter into the dense region. And that's why there is the evolution of galaxies near the dense region. So this was about the cosmic filaments. You can be asked about what are the cosmic filament and their importance in the prelims examination. Then coming to the next quick update, it is about myeloma. And what is the context? The context is that an immune and cancer cell targeting antibody therapy has shown potential to eliminate residual traces of multiple myeloma. In this news, we will be understanding about myeloma. Before understanding myeloma, let us first understand about the antibodies. Okay, what are antibodies? So basically, these are Y-shaped protein which are produced by our immune system, which targets the foreign particle which harm our immune system. Okay, they get attached to them and they remove those foreign particles from our body. So that is the basic meaning of antibodies. Now let us understand about myeloma. So its meaning, it is cancer of plasma cells, which is part of white blood cells. And white blood cell is basically fight the infection in our body. Okay. And what is the symptoms of myeloma? That is bone pain. It might be in your spine, it might be in your chest, it might be near your hips. It is tiredness, infection, nausea, constipation, weight loss, frequent urination, and confusion. So here you have to understand about antibodies and what is myeloma. These symptoms can be avoided, but you should be very clear about antibodies and myeloma. So this was all about this quick update. So the next quick update is about Universal Health Coverage Global Monitoring Report. So this is the report, and it has been released by jointly by WHO and World Bank organization, and it analyzes the progress towards the universal health coverage. What is the basic meaning of universal health coverage? So basically universal health coverage means that everyone is getting quality health facilities without financial hardship. So there are two important aspects under the universal health coverage. One is quality health facilities without financial hardship. So this report talk about these two aspects. Okay, and the first finding is that the health service coverage has improved, and it has improved from 54 points to 71 points between 2000 and 2023. Secondly, the report has said that the share of people experiencing the financial hardship due to large and improvised out-of-pocket health payment has declined, and it has declined from 34 to 26% between 2000 and 2022. These are the successes which are given in this report, but it has also talked about that many people have been pushed to poverty due to the issue of health. Okay, and it is given in the last point that the 4.6 billion people lack the essential service, and 2.1 billion people face financial hardship due to health facilities. That means they are not able to get health facilities, and they have to pay a large amount to get the quality health facilities. Okay, so this was all about this news. Let us move to the next quick updates. So the next quick update is about stubble burning status report of 2025. If you are reading newspaper thoroughly, you might be aware that the cases of stubble burning are lower this year. And one of the reason which is given is the floods in Punjab. Okay. But a recent report has highlighted that the India's current satellite-based monitoring system are capturing only a fraction of the fire incident because of limited duration window. We will be understanding what it means and how we are currently surveilling the fire incident. So currently, surveillance under the Consortium for Research on Agro-System Monitoring and Modeling from Space, which is there under Indian Agriculture Research Institute, which relies primarily on MODIS and VIIRS, Polar Orbiting Satellite. Okay, so basically what here this news means is, suppose this is Earth and polar orbit satellite revolve around the polar regions, so they have limited time frame over which they monitor a region. That is the basic meaning. So they are saying that these satellite orbits the Earth poles and observe India only from 10:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. So the time left beyond this is not observed by these satellite. That's why they are not able to properly monitor and report of cases of the fire incident in India. in the previous year examination, there was a question that what the research or sorry, the polar orbit satellite can do. Can they monitor vegetation? Can they monitor fires? So that was a correct option. Okay, now let us move to the next quick update and the last quick update for today. Biostimulants. And the context here is that they provide a green solution for sustainable Indian agriculture. As you might be aware that the Indian agriculture is lot dependent on the chemical inputs. On a national average, the chemical inputs to the Indian agriculture is around 140 kgs per hectare. And in some states like Punjab, it is up to 250 kgs per hectares. Okay, so it is affecting the agriculture. Okay, so for sustainable Indian agriculture, there is a requirement of biostimulants. And what are biostimulants? Basically, these are the substances or microorganisms that stimulates the natural processes independent of the nutrient content. And what is their objective? Their objective is that they enhance the nutrient uptake of the plants, as well as they boost the stress tolerance and improve the crop quality, as well as they supports the resilience under dynamic climate stressors. So that is the objective of biostimulants. Okay, you can be asked about biostimulant in the prelims examination, where the question can be directly about the biostimulant and their definitions. And they are regulated under the Fertilizers Control Order of 1985. And as we have read about their objective, the significance is related to objective only. The significance of these biostimulants are that they have better nutrient use efficiency, as well as the soil carbon sequestration, as well as the higher climate resilience. These are the significance of biostimulant. So this was all about quick update for today. To read further about our current affairs initiative, you can visit our digital current affairs website and also solve the smart quizzes there, and also solve the question which are visible on your screen. Thank you and all the best for your preparation.